Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Assessment, a weekly talk show where a panel of players and analysts discuss the Game National Championship Game of the Week. This week, we're going to be analysing the top seed match between Huddersfield White and Grey Warwick. Huddersfield looked very impressive in the summer tournament, beating out the dark horse Stas Iners to claim the title, but until now have been drowned out by the likes of Aston, Birmingham, and Manchester, so it's good to see them returning to form. Securing victory against Grey Warwick has granted them the opportunity to fight Aston Artists for the number one seed this Sunday. I'm your host Dezachu, and joining me for this episode is the NUEL 5 head coach Frozen Dawn, our weekly recap host Dowsy, and the victorious support from Huddersfield White, Armour. First off, Armour, welcome to the assessment. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Jordan. I'm a support and captain for Huddersfield White, and I was a feeder last Sunday.
Quite dirty, so indeed, yeah.
True story.
True story indeed. But I guess aside from that, it was a pretty solid performance by you guys overall. Chris went absolutely huge on Vayne. iHasCats dominated on Kindred, and Sharpie and Inset 2G had great supportive games too. But like you just said, it wasn't your strongest game. Why was that?
I was just feeling ill on the day, so I was just trying to do my best. Well, I was put the shot calling responsibilities on Sharpie and Cats. Well, I tried not to feed so hard during the game and make bad decisions myself, but in the end, it turned out all right because of how hard my team carried me.
Absolutely. So, I mean, ill as a student can mean a number of things, but we won't bounce too deeply into that one. Speaking of bouncing, Frozen, I want to bounce this one over to you first. The game was quite even throughout, and Huddersfield definitely seemed to be having a little bit of trouble with Mr. Rogers on that Ezreal.
Yeah, well, after Mr. Rogers got ahead from sort of, I think, just early laning mistakes, and then there was a great Jarvan gank, which I think could have actually been predicted because they knew he wasn't top or mid lane, so they could have assumed the Jarvan was coming block. But once the Ezreal got ahead, it's very, very difficult for their team comp to actually handle him. They weren't playing a sort of assassinate AD carry comp. They're much more about their covering their backline and killing the front line. As such, Ezreal, especially with Rage Blades, could kind of run riot.
Yeah, absolutely. And, every team fight, Ez was managing to get those kills, a kill or two. But on the back end of that, we saw iHasCats coming in, and he was getting double kills, triple kills, literally just cleaning up the fights on the back end of mistakes that were being made, which meant that despite Grey Warwick being able to get those early game advantages, it seemed Huddersfield was staying in the game via iHasCats and just getting those kills. And the game was pretty even up until about maybe 28 minutes into the game, where we really saw the big skirmish that tipped it into the favor of Huddersfield White. So we just roll into the clip. We're about 28 minutes into the game. Armour has just been killed. However, they blew 2 ultimates to get it. And now we've got this really awkward Baron dance happening where people aren't quite sure what's happening. You see Dank grabs, gets Insect, but then is cut off. Chris is able to get the kill. However, Prince Philip has just gone crazy and gets shut down by iHasCats. And now it's a 5v3. We see Insect get this slow and then a fantastic Gnarl onto Head Crusher. Just annihilates him. Chris condemns Mr. Rogers into the wall, and there you have it. It's a 4-0 for Huddersfield White. They have a Vayne, they have a Kindred, and they have a Lulu as well. So that Baron does not stand a chance. Getting about maybe 1.5, 2k gold from that. They're able to take the Baron buff, roll up to the enemy's base, get the Nexus turrets, inhibitor turrets, inhibitors, and then, finish the game off.
Absolutely, Armour, your thoughts on that fight? I mean, what kind of was the planning behind that for you guys? What did you guys kind of think leading into the build-up to that fight?
Get caught and win, huh?
Yeah, it seems to be the key.
Well, originally we saw him walking up to Baron, so we just wanted to scout it and check, and if there was, we just wanted to stop it. That was the original plan, which we did succeed in, and then they just, for some reason, used like 4 ultimates. They used the Ezreal ultimate, Jax used his, Jarvan ult on me, and the Shockwave only hit one person. And then they still decided to stay. They weren't doing Baron, they're just walking around, and then they just decided to make split decisions, got caught, which plays well into our comp. So Lulu Kindred will probably win most 2v2s. So will Vayne now. So the all died and we got Baron off it.
Yeah, I mean,
Philip. I just went to clear the bot inhib before it went down.
Best support ever.
My
wave clearing Armour, yeah.
Wave clear Nautilus.
All right, cool. So we've seen that really impressive performance, to be fair, against one of the consistently top teams in the NUEL. Grey Warwick have been a bit of a household name, over the last few years. Will, we saw last week after analysing the game between Aston and Birmingham, kind of how that one panned out. Obviously, Birmingham took the win away then. How do you see Huddersfield facing off against Aston this coming week?
I think if Aston plays like they played against Birmingham, I think they're going to be in for a bit of trouble. I think the Huddersfield's drafting phase is really, really strong, at least compared to the other teams that I've seen so far. And then Aston's was particularly weak, so I think that Huddersfield can definitely outdraft them, and then from that work their team comp into a victory, capitalising off the mistakes that Aston are in a sense likely to make. The only thing is, I think Aston know that some champion pool and the drafting phase is one of their weakest sort of sides of things. So if they've actually been working on that specifically, practicing it, perhaps increasing their champion pools as well, we could see some quite interesting things coming out. Perhaps things that Huddersfield aren't expecting, a new mid lane, like a new mid lane pick that they haven't accounted for, something like that.
I mean, when we had Synergy on the show last week, he was talking and saying again, they lost them in the first place in the main season format before it got to this kind of final point, and they realised, hang on, these guys play one or two champions in each lane, and that's about it. And they, like you say, they capitalised on that really, really well. Took the jungler away, especially, and a lot of the pressure just shut down across the map. So maybe something they're going to try and work on this week for Huddersfield. I'm pretty sure they've got a bit of taste in the back of the mouths, and they want to be able to take a number one spot at some point. Armour, coming over to you again. Hearing all these thoughts off the assessment last week and obviously what we've discussed so far today, have you guys done much prep for this series, or do you think you got it quite comfortably? What's the kind of consensus from the team?
Well, what I do before every series, like if we're doing like the 3 best of ones, I'll just do a bit of research for the first team. There's no point putting a ton of prep in for it. But now we're doing a best of 3. I've got a Google Doc saying all the champs they play, like composition wise, in the NUEL, the last 6. Ranked 5s, I've got like lists of those, and the most champion players in solo queue. See what they're most likely to play, see what comps they look comfortable with. I looked at their ban pick phase from the Birmingham game and saw quite a few trends that Birmingham use. Just used the same 2 bans. Not 2 bans, same 3 bans in both games, and it worked like perfectly for them. So I'm taking that into account and seeing what they play this week. And then we're going to devise my own team comps around it, because I do the pick and ban like strategies for the team.
Cool.
And because our team, not only is the meta good for us, we have like massive champion pools. Like if you look on my solo queue, Alex's, we play 12 champions in each role. It's pretty crazy. So they can't ban us out, and we could probably definitely ban them out.
That's going to be key, actually, I think, for taking on Aston this weekend, is that you guys have such big champion pools. And as Des mentioned earlier, Aston have very limited champion pools in each role, which allows you guys to work around the champions that you think they're going to play in the role. Obviously, there's been some time since it's been about 2 weeks. Well, it has been 2 weeks since the last finals against Birmingham and Aston, but that's a lot of time. So they may have learnt new champions. They may have found those secret OP picks on the new patches. But if you're able to scout out an enemy and notice that they do like to play these very similar champions across their games, then that means they're comfortable on them. So taking that, anyone can take that advice and just use it to find the bands that they think they can't play against, know the champions they can play against, and then build team compositions that deal with those champions.
Absolutely. I mean, 2 weeks ago it was Kuznia on Kale destroying a match. This week it was Mr. Rogers surprising everyone, although losing, of course, on the Ezreal.
Yep.
Frozen, jumping over to you for a second. There are still some hidden gems in this pile, no doubt, that people still have yet to uncover in this patch. For example, it took 6 months for Lulu to be realised as the overly oppressive top laner she once was.
Yep.
I don't want you to spoil too many things away here, but with the NUEL 5 team, have you kind of been discussing anything kind of up and coming with them? Something that you might identify as something quite powerful that may come out as a surprise to NUEL teams?
I think
Reveal your strategies.
Yeah, I'll give you our list to pick that. I think like so Rageblade, obviously Guinzu's Rageblade, I think is an item right now that is particularly strong. And I guess it came across in this match, of course, with the Ezreal.
Oh, yeah.
Was saying that he was like, "Oh, what is this Rageblade Ezreal?" And then suddenly it like wipes you in like 3 seconds. What is this? He scaling from that ult, so I think there are certain picks like that. I think in the games this weekend, so Aston versus Huddersfield, I think mid lane is going to be quite an area of contention, because I think both mid laners have quite predictable pick and bans. So it's Sharpie's very much likely to sort of pick that LeBlanc, and I can't remember the name of Aston's mid laner, but I think he plays a lot of Orianna.
He did. Wood League, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So you can kind of predict that maybe if one of them's going to, that you actually prep a counter pick specifically for them. I don't know, casting for LeBlanc, and then I mean Zed's really strong at the moment actually, and Zed's very good into Orianna, at least in the laning phase. So like you might see something like that where someone actually just plays that champion sort of entirely on like maybe a Smurf or something just to get the practice, and then brings it out for this best of 3 and forces a very awkward pick and ban phase for like game 2 of it. And if you can win game 1 off effectively like a cheesy pick ban phase, you can then you apply a huge amount of pressure. So I think it's definitely worth watching out for both these teams need to watch out for that kind of level of like specific preparation, because you know who your opponents, but you have an entire week to prep.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, very good point. And Dowsy, just before we wrap up here, what do you think is the main takeaway for teams that are kind of hoping to reach this kind of epitome of play that we're kind of seeing Aston and Huddersfield and Birmingham and so on all kind of hitting this season? What's the advice you give to the lower teams who want to climb up to this level?
I think one of the things that really lost Grey Warwick this game was their communication. You had different initiations happening across the board. Prince Philip went on to the Lulu, and then you had Dank Grab staying behind was his team tried to retreat. So you've got 3 different things happening. A team should be working as a unit. They should know what they want to do, and it should be quite clear. And because of that, Huddersfield were able to capitalize off the very fixable mistake that Grey Warwick made. And so work on your communication, have a shot caller, and listen to that shot caller. If they make a call, then you respect it. And you'll find that what you decide to do will happen a lot easier because you're all on the same page.
Absolutely. I've noticed that when you said listen to and respect your shot caller, Armour had a little grin on his face there.
Yeah.
Definitely has that.
Yeah,
from
we
his...
had that problem before we had a roster change. But it's all now.
Yeah, now you put down the Iron Fist and you're now in charge. But again, just coming over to you before we close out this one. Might be a little bit biased asking you, but what are your predictions for this weekend given the prep that you've put in so far?
Personally, I think the meta suits us too well. It's back to like at the start of the last year in November. It was very like lane focused and snowball, which is what this does. Like we can even do it on like lane, like late scaling champs too. So I honestly think the meta is just too good for us right now, and I think I put enough prep in for us to just win pick ban and then win the game off that. But like I said, we'd never played against these guys before, not in the best of ones or last year if there was around. So we're not underestimating. We're going to go in and play our best, and I think we'll take it.
Well, it's always those big unknown games. Oh, well, the 2-0 BM. Okay, it's always these unknown games. They always bring the most exciting kind of spectacles for everyone to watch. Anyway, so brilliant. Thank you very, very much, guys, for all your thoughts and insights on that game. So tune in at 6:45 p.m. every Sunday for more action from the Game National Championship, including this to be determined 2-0 Huddersfield win. And keep an eye out for another episode of the assessment next week on our YouTube channel. Thank you once again, guys, and we'll see you soon.